Hey, how you doing? Today, what I want to cover is I'm going to build a small little dirt road up into the front of the Werley Beaver Lodge. Road's going to come from off the side here over these two tracks, heading into the depot, and then into a little bit of a bare spot I'll have here for parking. This is rural 1920 Wisconsin, southwest Wisconsin. I have it just a little bit, and then this will all be grass. So it's just going to be a little bit of a dirt. But heading into it, I'm going to do a crossing over these tracks. And with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these wooden stir sticks. I don't know if you ever used these. They're a nice scale. At O scale, I got them at basically a 2x8. And in HO scale, they're about 4x14 scale. So they're a little bit off for HO, but you know, you can cut them down wherever you're doing. You can get these, I don't know, I forget what I paid. I bought these a while ago on Amazon, but so I'll leave a link down below for those. For the track coming in, or for the road, I mean, I'm going to be cutting. This is about the right width, maybe a little bit too wide. What I'm using to trim them, one of these. So simple. You can cut at an angle, 90 degrees. Got a little scale here for you to measure. I saw these used on model ship building, wooden ship models. It's a nice simple tool for this. So I'll put one here, and then another one about the same size, I suppose. Now on the inside, you want to leave room for the flange. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a couple shorter ones here. A lot of this will get buried. This will be buried in ballast, both ends. The road will be covered. It'll be thicker. Will probably be up to the ties, or at least the top of the dirt on both sides. Okay, so I have some old-time solder. From the old days when I used to solder with a solder iron. Sheet metal workers. My uncle was a sheet metal worker, and when he died, I inherited it. That's where I got a lot of my tools. I inherited them, unfortunately. After looking at this overnight, giving it some time here, there's a couple things wrong with it. I just don't like. Let me set the camera down here. This is supposed to be a driveway, not a road. So I think I made it too wide. I made it actually wide enough for two vehicles. And it was a driveway. It doesn't need to be that wide. I mean, this is just like a dirt path, driveway off of the main road that would be out here. And so into a little parking area right here, a little area, staging area, whatever you want to park. At the time, around 1920, so a lot of people still had horse and buggy or horses. So they wouldn't have had very many roads. In fact, when the vehicles came along, when they improved the roads to the point when people started having cars and trucks, the farmers stopped shipping their milk to the dairy via the train. And that was basically the end of the dinky. When the roads came in, that kind of killed the whole thing. People could start getting around in their car. That killed a lot of the railroads around the country, a lot of passenger cars or passenger trains. I mean, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to narrow this up to just one vehicle wide. The other problem I had was that I used code 100 rail. I know it's probably too high, too thick for narrow gauge, but whatever. It was easy to get, and I didn't really worry about it too much. Code 70, maybe code 83, but code 100, and it works. I mean, it's my railroad. I do what I want. You don't like it, sue me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to the wood stir sticks that I'm using come in at 0.043 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double them up. And that'll bring it up closer to the top of the rail so that there isn't the bump as you go over the rails. I'll just do a double layer on them, and then that'll make it up. And when I do the ballast on the side ties, I could tie that in so you won't really see the double layers. And if you do, so what? They basically used what they had available. If they wouldn't have had wood that thick, then they would have doubled it up. So anyway, so I'm going to start. I'm going to use this as I want it a little bit to the side over here away from the building. So I'm thinking this inside line here. And then a little wider than, just doesn't need to be exactly the car width. And then this line here. I don't want to go too deep and score the ties either. It's a good thing these are cheap. So now that I've used I use a little utility knife that kind of round out the words a little bit and make them a little rougher, kind of age them a little bit. And then I take a wire brush and score them, kind of put a little wood grain into it. And you know, you just kind of want to add more detail to it, make it look like it's a little bit older. And then I use the sanding wand because when you go over with the dental pick, it tends to raise the wood a little bit and kind of brings it up, kind of a little bit of a crown. Or if you force that in there, it runs up around it. So I use a little sanding block there to kind of level them off and smooth it out. And then, you know, it's just a matter of cleaning it up and getting ready. Now here's what I'm doing is I have some alcohol and India ink, the old weathering technique, and I just dump some in India ink. I don't really have a formula. I just kind of dump it until it looks good. And then I have an old brush and I put it on. And it lightens up after it ages, so after it dries out and wears in a little bit. So it kind of goes, it's not going to be this black. You want the wood to look a little gray, but you don't want it to be black either. So I kind of dab it in and let it soak up some and see how it looks. And make sure you get the edges. This is a similar process I did with ties. The track is hand laid. So the ties I've done basically the same multi-step, whatever how many steps involved. And then what I do is I have a couple cans of some stain, some wood stain, and I do a little weathering with that. This will be like kind of an intermediate stage before you get to the final. And I add a little more detail in the color. Of course, you know, weathering is multi-layers. This first one is kind of a gray called briar smoke. So this is a water-based stain. It's kind of a gray-brown, so it adds a little bit more, takes out some of that black, I think, and kind of makes it a little bit more gray. I think weathered wood is kind of gray, so I kind of want some of that on here and just kind of randomly spread it around. I don't think you want to do too much. I think less is more. I guess it would be the... I don't want to do too much. I mean, it's like, you know, just keep painting. And my weathering is not the best. I try to get by with as little as I can. And I have another color here. This one is, let's see, I think this is antique oak. That's the name of this. Again, it's water-based, so it cleans up easy. There's not a lot of smell to it. Yep, antique oak. Approved by the 4-H. This is a darker brown. And add a little bit of color back into the gray. I do more of a, I don't know, it's not really a dry brush, but I don't use a lot on it either. Kind of just over the top, just lightly give it a tint. Then when I'm done, what I'll do is when I ballast the tie, when I ballast the rail, I'll come in and I'll do some oil spots and grease and all that stuff, and that'll be match the ties, the ballast as I go. It'll be done instead of trying to do it now and then trying to match that all later. I'll just do it all at one time. This is a little picture here of it finished. It dries. I hope you stick around. And thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. My name is Mike, and I'll see you in the next one.